Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola, mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006.
Hola, bienvenidos a Discapacidad Televisión. Recuerda suscribirte para no perderte los últimos estrenos y programas en vivo. Danos un me gusta, y así nos ayudarás a conocerte mejor, y saber qué programación es tu favorita. Por favor, no te olvides de compartir, así, más personas podrán disfrutar de Discapacidad Televisión y toda su programación. Muchas gracias.
¿Conoces los programas que conforman a la CNDH? 6. Atención a personas con discapacidad. Este importante programa, perteneciente a la primera Visitaduría General, trabaja de manera conjunta con organizaciones de la sociedad civil y dependencias de los 3 órdenes de gobierno, a través de la promoción, difusión, orientación y acompañamiento en casos de presunta vulneración a los derechos humanos de las personas con discapacidad. Además, realiza investigaciones, informes y diagnósticos acerca del estado que guardan los derechos humanos de este sector de la población, a fin de dar a conocer las áreas de oportunidad, coadyuvando con la asertiva toma de decisiones en pro de la inclusión. Si consideras que tus derechos han sido vulnerados, acércate a nosotros. En la Comisión Nacional de los Derechos Humanos, defendemos al pueblo.
Soy José. Todas las mañanas me levanto, tomo desayuno y me voy al trabajo. Al llegar me pongo muy contento. He conocido entretenidos y buenos amigos. En mi empresa reconocen lo que hago. Estoy orgulloso de trabajar aquí. Siento que la vida me ha dado mucho. José es mi hijo, es sordomudo y sus logros son también nuestros logros.
Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola, mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006. A continuación, Footless EE.UU, más allá de una amputación. Presenta EE.UU BECKWITH. Características de este programa. Audio en inglés, subtítulos en castellano.
Makes me so mad. I am genuinely very conflicted about today's video. I've tried making this video a variety of times. Initially it was gonna be a how dare he sort of video, and then I sat on it for a little while, and then I thought, how dare I? And now we're here in the middle where I'm asking, I genuinely do not know if this is harmful and dangerous or if this is a me problem. So let's talk about Steve IEO. Hello there, my beautiful, lovely internet friends. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Like I said, this topic is a tricky one for me because the fellow we are about to speak about today, Steve, has a massive social media following. He has achieved almost 10 million followers on TikTok. Way to go, man. That's very impressive. Has hundreds of thousands of followers throughout Instagram and YouTube, has a massive presence, and does a lot of comedy-related skits and bits now. But I did not know that when I first found him, because the way that I discovered him was on TikTok, scrolling through my For You page. I came across a video of a guy, this video right here, dressed in scrubs, where he starts off by saying, tips from the ER.
Tips from the ER.
In the rest of that video, he then uses the word we. When we see you here in the ER, here's what we are going to be doing. And the content of that video was about emergency pelvic exams. And ironically, that was a video that I saw the day that I had to later have an emergency pelvic exam. And what he talked about and how he talked about in his video made my anxiety, which was already high, go from like a 7 to like a 9 because of the crass and callous way that he presented this information. Now, as I dug in further, if you see this person, you might think that they represent a medical professional, but he is not one. He is a retired ER tech. He previously worked as an ER tech. He was never a doctor, never a nurse. He was a tech, which is an incredibly important job. It's important to note that he no longer works in it and that he never was a doctor, because the majority of people do think that he is a doctor. So in today's video, I am going to present to you why I think this is dangerous and harmful, but also ask you if you think I might be wrong, because I realize there are a lot of factors involved here and I am open to having my mind changed. As we wander into a bit of a controversial and colorful issue, I would like to thank our sponsor today, Skillshare. Skillshare is a returning sponsor, which I am thrilled about because I actively use their service. It is an online learning platform and community with thousands and thousands of classes and topics, and is very simple and easy to use. Their courses are built in digestible bits with amazing instructors who make things very clearly. I have taken everything from watercolor to Final Cut Pro editing and more. Right now, I am in the middle of the ultimate self-care playbook, Discover and Nurture Your Centered Self with JVN, Jonathan Van Ness, which is a fantastic course. He's great to listen to. I really enjoy it. And thanks to Skillshare's generosity, the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in my description will get 1 month of a free trial, meaning you can check out their library of courses completely free of charge. Not only will clicking that link help to support this channel, but it also is something I genuinely believe in. I have had a lot of skills sharpened and learned from Skillshare, and I really enjoy, so I hope you check it out and let me know what you think. But now let's get back to the juicy stuff. So I want to start off by showing 3 videos and my personal reactions to them. The first one you're going to see is about pelvic exams, the second one is about self-harm, and the last one is about when doctors can't figure out what's wrong with you in the ER. Now, I will warn you, if you are someone who is sensitive to any of these subjects, the way that he's going to talk about them is very flippant and very crass, and it was upsetting to me to hear, so just know that going in. And of course, decide for yourself if this is something you'd like to watch.
Tips from the ER. Pelvic exams. Ladies, you got a lot going on downstairs. It's not uncommon for you to come to the ER for an emergency pelvic exam. First thing we're gonna do, strip you down to a hospital gown and get you onto one of our special GYN beds. We need a clear shot of the hole, motherfuckers. The doctor will then feel around, check you inside, outside, and stick a speculum into you to keep you open long enough. There's usually a third person in the room to chaperone the exam. This is for the benefit of both parties. Just in case the patient is crazy and says the doctor tickled them somewhere they didn't want to be tickled, or in case the doctor's crazy and tickles the patient somewhere they didn't want to be tickled. We'll never know unless there's a witness in the room to tell the judge they both tickled each other and liked it.
So that was the TikTok that I saw on the same day that I had to have an emergency pelvic exam. And the words and the tone that he uses of being so crass is just the best word that I can think of. Like seeing someone dressed up as if they were a medical professional or a doctor, talking about like, ladies, you got a lot going on down there, and then making a joke at the end about something horrific that can happen. Like being sexually abused by a doctor during a pelvic exam I'm running out of words, is a horrific thing. So joking about it and sexualizing a procedure that is not sexual is really gross to me, really frustrates me, personally. TikTok number 2.
Tips from the ER. Thoughts of hurting yourself? If you come to the ER with thoughts of hurting yourself, the first thing we're gonna do, sit you down and take everything away from you. Phones, clothes, necklace, bracelets, anything you could possibly use to hurt yourself, including the bra. We take no chances, motherfucker. If you tell us you're gonna hurt yourself, we will totally believe you. We'll get you a gown, some socks, and someone to keep eyes on you at all times, which means no more private bathroom privileges. I won't lie to you, motherfuckers. You will be waiting in the ER a very long time, and you cannot leave unless we say you can. I know it's impossible to realize in the moment, but suicide really is a long-term solution to a short-term problem.
So again, this is giving information about some things that do happen in medical situations. If you're coming in worried about harming yourself, things will be taken away from you so you can't hurt yourself. That's not wrong information, but the way it's presented by like, even the bra, motherfucker, and just the rest of that video, the tone of talking about something so serious. The fact that someone could hear this, being in a vulnerable mental position, maybe struggling with self-harm or suicide, that video is, the tone is not helpful or inviting. It is taking an incredibly serious subject, presenting yourself as a professional on it, and then saying things that I honestly think could actively drive people away because of the way that you are presenting it. Like, if I was thinking about hurting myself and someone was telling me, yeah, if you come, we're gonna take everything away from you, even your bra, motherfucker. For me personally, and this is gonna vary for people, I'd be like, cool, then I'm just not gonna go there and deal with that bullshit. I'm not gonna go there and have everything taken away from me when I'm already in so much mental pain and not thinking straight. Just personal opinion. This is the one that really gets under my skin. Number 3.
Tips from the ER. We don't know what's wrong. That's right, after all the poking, prodding, touching, and undressing, your scans, your blood work, and your labs came back, and we can finally tell you that we have not one motherfucking clue why you are in pain. You think you'd be happy to hear that nothing's wrong with you, but you motherfuckers hate that answer. You'd rather be told you were dying. At least that would justify why you stressed out, rushed to the ER, and spent 6 hours at the hospital. Sometimes all you needed was a day off, ibuprofen, rest, and a better diet. If something hurts to move, stop moving it. Hurts to move your arm? Stop fucking moving your arm. Learn some physical therapy. You'd be surprised how many people have no idea how to use their own bodies. Anyways, thanks for coming to see us. That'll be $2,000.
It's hard for me to look past my own biases on this one because I am so blinded with rage at the suggestion that if a doctor cannot find what is wrong with you in the short period of time that you might be in the ER, that it's probably just your fault. You probably should have just taken ibuprofen. Something really hurts? Stop moving it. Like, that's just... Oh, it makes me so mad because I have been that person in that situation where something is very wrong and I am dismissed and not taken seriously and literally given Advil and sent home when something is wrong. And the attitude that he presents of arrogance and being flippant and crass and doctors being gods basically if they can't figure out what's wrong with you, like it's your fault, makes me so angry because it's not a joke. It is something that happens all the time and it's actively hurt my life and hurt my mental health and hurt my body. So, okay, I'm gonna calm down for a second, but those are the 3 TikToks that really got under my skin. Keep in mind, this man, Steve, also has hundreds of other videos making all kinds of different jokes. Again, not my brand of humor in general, but I get why people like him. I get why he's a likable guy. I understand what he's doing. However, for me personally, this kind of content, especially mixed in with like other harmless, funny things, is what makes it potentially so dangerous. Because the way that TikTok works, if you don't know, if you're scrolling through TikTok, you're not seeing people's like profiles and information in the general course of like scrolling through TikTok, right? You're just coming across people's videos. And the way that this guy presents himself is if he is a professional, which he is not. Like, the jokes that are made in the midst of these videos are pulling on things that can be very painful for people. Going back to the self-harm one, talking about like, you're not gonna be able to go to the bathroom alone anymore. Like, you're picking at something that could be a very sensitive and sore spot for someone who's already in a compromised mental place. And so much of this reinforces the stereotypes and mindsets that exist about patients and doctors already. Like, going through his page, so much of it is derogatory and a little bit degrading and talking down, and maybe the information is technically, for the most part, fairly accurate, but the way that information is packaged, as we all know, is very important. As I went down this TikTok rabbit hole, a few things started to really get under my skin. Number one, the fact that he does not clearly identify in his TikToks that he is not a doctor, he is not a nurse, he is not a tech, he is someone who is performing comedy now. Because even if you look through his hashtags, like this one for instance, you're gonna see, where is the GYN gurney when you need it? Nowhere. Hashtag hospital, hashtag judge, hashtag witness, partner, bed, emergency, chaperone. At least on the videos that I'm showing here, or if you go to the hashtags, it doesn't show it anywhere. There's no indication. He uses the word we as if he was a part of it. To find that out, you actually have to go to his profile where you'll see jokes, not advice, and that he is now a retired ER tech. From my understanding, it previously did not say that, but this is something he has added as time has gone on. So a couple weeks ago, I decided to kind of speak up on this, and I made a couple TikToks. The first one, I talked about seeing that video about pelvic exams the day that I had to have one. So super ironically, ironically, the same day that I saw that video, I ended up in the ER for an emergency pelvic exam, and I wanted to take just a moment to share the impact that video had on me and how it made the experience exponentially worse for me. And then as I kind of got more heated on the subject, and the fact that people genuinely thought this guy was a doctor and that the advice that he was given was like advice from a doctor, I made a video asking that TikTok add a simple warning label at the very bottom of the screen just saying like this does not come from a medical professional, right? Because it's not clear if you're watching his videos and only his videos that is the case. In much the same way that this app already adds warnings to anyone spreading information about COVID or anyone performing a harmful or dangerous action, can we please add warning labels to people spreading misinformation about medical knowledge while wearing scrubs and appearing to be a person who is professional? I haven't gone through the process before of sort of criticizing some major creator who is very beloved. I felt like this message was a good example that encapsulated a lot of the responses that I got. It was yeah, people are very passionate about this topic. The comment section pretty universally decided that I was a Karen. I needed to sit down and shut up about it. And initially that kind of got under my skin and made me mad because I'm like, I'm not asking for this guy to be canceled. I'm just asking that some like basic warning is added because I think this could be dangerous. I think the fact that most people from everything that I have seen and read do think this man is a doctor and he is giving out advice, and the way that he is speaking about very serious subjects that he does not have the expertise in some cases to be speaking on, and that people are hearing this as if it is coming from a doctor. It's suggestive of the fact that he is a professional, at least. I was like, this is bad, this is wrong, I don't think that this is a safe thing. Now, I am not alone in this. There are a number of nurses and doctors, actual nurses and doctors on TikTok and Instagram who have come forward, they've said the same thing, they've said, we do not like what is happening here, we think it's dangerous, we think it's wrong. But on the flip side, there are people who absolutely adore this man. There are people who think it's absolutely hilarious, it's just the funniest thing ever, and to make the very accurate comment that comedy is how a lot of people deal with serious subjects, and to not rain on that parade just because we don't find it funny. I feel like this could surprise some people. To a large extent, I do agree. A good friend of mine has always made the comment about comedy that either it's all okay or none of it's okay. And for a long time, I very much disagreed with him. I was like, no, there are some jokes that should not be made. But as I have continued to live life, I've changed my mind on that a little bit. And I now don't know that there are ever jokes that should never be made. I think it comes down to context and audience, because very, very serious subjects like limb loss, disability, sexual assault are things that in coping with them, I and other people I know have made very dark, awful jokes, right? That like shouldn't be said, to kind of laugh at and take the power away from something that is such a serious subject. And I don't think a lot of those jokes are okay in every situation. I think it is very specific to audience and context. I do very much believe that comedy should be a space where it is okay to push certain boundaries at certain times with certain audiences. And because of that, honestly, I don't watch a lot of comedy because there are a lot of things I don't like how people joke about. I don't want to be in the middle of listening to a comic and hear a rape joke and then be really angry or a little bit emotionally messed up about it because it's something that's personally affected me. I don't think they're a horrible, awful person who should burn for saying that, but it is not something I am ever going to appreciate. It's not something I'm ever going to find funny coming from some dude on stage making a joke. This is a big reason why I don't go to live comedy, like at all, and I don't watch a lot of comedy stand-up specials. There was one time where we got tickets to see this pretty controversial comedian, and I was like, you know what, Brian, I know that this is someone that you enjoy, you find funny. I am just gonna get mad, and I am just gonna want to like stand up and stomp out of there if I have to go to that. So I'm not gonna do that because that is not the point of this event. And he brought a friend who appreciates that kind of humor with him instead. Just because I don't find something funny, I don't think that it shouldn't be said or shouldn't be done. However, context matters. So when I see this guy who is dressed up like a doctor making jokes and belittling, in my opinion, patients, belittling the very real experience of how traumatic trying to get healthcare in our country can be, talking about the fact that if doctors can't find what's wrong with you, maybe you should have just stayed home, maybe you should have taken an Advil, maybe you just wasted your time at the ER and you're mad about it just because they couldn't figure it out in like 2 hours, and you just don't want to make peace with the reality that you wasted your time and money, which is why you want something to be wrong. And how patients are treated sometimes is awful. And to see these jokes reinforcing these stereotypes that are actively harming people makes me angry. And I realize that this is something that I have a lot of emotion about. Going back to the pelvic exam one, right? One of the, if not the biggest reason that people have to have pelvic exams in an emergency room is because of sexual assault. So talking in such an incredibly crass, flippant, and sexualized way about something that is very traumatizing to a lot of people makes me very angry. His account is both beloved and very controversial. I know it has been banned at least twice, but it always comes right back. So I'm not really sure what's happening behind the scenes with TikTok. I'm not advocating for him to be banned. I am just saying that this stuff is very serious and perhaps should come with more explanation or with a warning. I've heard a lot of people say that, you know, this is ridiculous, you shouldn't be taking any kind of medical advice or getting medical information from TikToks, but the reality is that people do. Whether or not people should, people do. People see representations of professionals on social media, and that does factor into their thinking. The idea that that is not influencing or impacting people in any way, I honestly think is absurd, because that is not how the power dynamics of social media and being someone who presents things online works. There is a certain level of responsibility and spreading responsible information. And initially I was gonna make a video about like how awful I think these things are, but I have been sitting on this for weeks, acknowledging the fact that maybe this is funny to people, maybe this is helpful to some people, maybe it provides information in a comedic tone that people can listen to, and maybe it actually improves their medical experience or their medical impression. I have a hard time believing that, but that's my problem, not yours. I know from my comment sections that there are people who have not gone to see doctors because of this man's TikToks, but I also know from reading other comments there are people who have felt more comfortable. Is there a problem here? Is there something that's wrong here? Because I feel like there is. But I also know that I don't know everything. I know that there are probably factors that I'm not considering, and if that's the case, I would really love to hear them and consider them down below. From where I sit, I think this is harmful. I think it is unwise and potentially extremely dangerous to sit in front of a camera, giving tips from the ER, using the word we as if he is a part of that community, dressing up the way that he does, and not making it clear that he is not a medical professional unless you take extra steps, right? Unless you go into his profile, his bio, and read that. So I'm gonna wrap this video up by asking you the question, what do you think? Is this harmful? Is this dangerous? Is the danger that it poses more than the comic relief to you personally? I want to make it really clear that I'm not trying to like cancel this guy. Steve, hey, on the off chance that you're watching, none of this is being like you suck or I hate you. I just very much disagree with the tone and the way that you present subjects, and I have known it to personally be harmful to myself and other people that I know. The members of my audience, not everyone at all, but I know at least a decent percentage are people who have had similar experiences like I have, difficulty in healthcare, frustrations, chronic issues not being taken seriously by doctors, trauma, amputation, things of this nature. And so this was one reason I really wanted to ask this community in particular, people who have been affected by some of the stuff that he jokes about, how you take it, you know, how you receive that. Everybody, I'm famous. Well, hello there, my beautiful, lovely, delightful, talented internet friends. I am ridiculously excited to be able to bring you today's video, and apparently Monkey is too. She wanna wear some shades? There we go. You know, I'm not even gonna attempt to bury the lead. I was in a New York Times Square billboard, and beyond the fact that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I'm crazy grateful for, the cause that it is for is amazing, and even more than that, Brian and I got to fly out to actually see it in person. Why are we going to New York City, baby?
We're going to New York City because you are going to be on a billboard in Times Square.
What? So a couple months ago, I got chosen as a spokesperson for Shades for Migraine, which is an incredible campaign raising awareness for migraine disorders. And something I didn't even know when I signed up for it is that there was going to be a billboard live in Times Square. And like an absolute nerd, Brian and I booked tickets out to see it because I feel like this is one thing. It's never gonna happen again. Come on. We all know I'm not actually this cool, so I'm gonna capitalize on it when I have the opportunity. And we are flying out for approximately like 17 hours, and we're gonna see me in Times Square. So we got into New York City late last night and definitely did not get enough sleep, and we are about a 15-minute walk away from Times Square. So we are gonna go get some coffee and meander our way down there and see if we can find me on a billboard.
Hey, look out, she's coming through. She's walking here.
Times Square is right up here. I think it's like one street over. So I think in theory, it should be that one up there, if I read the email.
If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
I don't think I can make it here, I'm melting.
Who is that? That was you on a Times Square billboard.
Everybody, I'm famous. Just kidding, please don't.
Who is that dork?
That is the proper response. That's so cool to see.
Yeah.
Shades. That didn't work very well.
No star power.
No star power. So when I first got the email and text, I think it was on a Thursday morning, being like, hey, just so you know, there's like an opportunity for you to be a part of a Times Square ad for the Shades for Migraine campaign that we're raising awareness for. Would you be interested in that? I'd like to say that I was super totally cool and like, yeah, I think I'll see if I can fit that into my schedule. But I was like, stop everything. I'll cancel anything you need. What do you need from me? Let's make this happen. Being someone who loves New York City, my husband's from New York, this was like the coolest thing to me, and so being able to go and see it felt really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna stop gushing and continue on here. So this was by far one of the craziest and also once in a freaking lifetime experiences that I've ever had, and I am so grateful that I was able to go see it. It was really surreal. That is a moment that I will savor and be grateful for the rest of my life. But much more importantly than any of that, I want to talk about what that billboard was actually for, because that, my friends, is a cause that I care very deeply about. Now, you may have seen on the billboard, the quote that they had by my picture is, "Migraine is harder than my amputation." And that is 100% true. This channel, Footless Show, I've largely detailed my journey through amputation, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad. It's been a struggle, but it's been a beautiful thing as well. And another topic that I've covered, but I've never really fully dove in, that's not a word, dived into, never fully dived into, yeah, that's a sentence, has been my journey since I was a teenager dealing with migraine. This is something that has affected my life in more ways than I think my amputation ever could. And one of the reasons I like to make that comparison is because oftentimes people look at me missing a leg and are like, oh, that must be the worst thing you've ever gone through, right? Or the hardest thing to deal with. And the reality, again, couldn't be further from the truth. Dealing with something as debilitating and disabling as migraine is definitely one of the largest struggles that I currently still have. I'm on some new treatments. I know enough about my diagnosis, about symptoms, about triggers for migraines that I do a good job of managing it, but it is something that very much still affects my life and exists in my life. And when I say migraine, I think a lot of people think headache, understandably so. It's kind of how culture talks about it, but migraine is so much more than just a headache. It's something that affects multiple systems in your body. For instance, I get really nauseous. I have a lot of difficulty putting words together. I look and I sound like I'm drunk, like I'm just not with it when I have a migraine that hits. Oftentimes, yes, there's a lot of physical pain, but it goes so much further than that. And Shades for Migraine is a campaign that I'm a spokesperson for this June that you can be a part of, and I really hope you'll join me. It is the simplest thing in the world to be a part of and is kind of fun too. The purpose of this campaign is very straightforward. It is simply to raise awareness and give voice to those who have been dealing with migraines. So if you have dealt with migraine, if you know someone who is dealing with migraine, if you care about this at all we're asking you to do is to wear a pair of shades in the month of June, specifically June 21st, but really whenever you'd like to. Post that picture with the hashtag Shades for Migraine and challenge 3 of your friends to do the same. Migraine is something that affects over 40 million Americans and many more people worldwide. It's the 6th most debilitating disease in the world, which I can definitely attest to the effects of. And so many people go undiagnosed, which is one of the reasons I think it's very important that we raise awareness, connect people with resources, get diagnoses so that people can get good treatments for what they're dealing with. Speaking on a personal level, raising awareness about what migraine is and how it affects people is really important to me because I have the luck of having a lot of people in my life who are very understanding. I have a group of friends now who get it, so when I'm canceling or when I have to leave something early or when I'm completely unreliable because I have a migraine, they are incredibly understanding because because they get that it's not just like, oh, a headache that I don't want to deal with. They get that it's something debilitating, but that is not the case for everybody. And I've certainly had experiences in my life where people treated it like it was something I just needed to get over, not understanding that it's something that really takes chunks of your life away. I really hope that you'll join me in this. And again, it's the simplest thing. All you gotta do is pick up a pair of your sweetest shades. By the way, you look really cool. Snap a selfie of yourself or a picture with your friends, post that picture and hashtag shades for migraine to help us raise awareness and end the stigma. A huge, gigantic thank you to Shades for Migraine for the amazing work that you're doing. And then also on a selfish personal level, thank you for having me be a part of this Times Square campaign. It was such an honor and just felt just absolutely delightful, amazing, and I'll always remember it, so thank you so much. To my lovely patrons who enable me to do what I do, thank you for your continual support. It means the world to me. If you're interested in what Patreon is or how you could participate in this community, click the link on screen. You can't click on screen. Click the link in the description to check it out, but most importantly, to you watching this video right now, thank you so much for spending a few minutes out of your day here with me today. You could be anywhere else in the world, doing absolutely anything else, but you chose to hang out with me for a few minutes and listen to me talk, and I really appreciate that. I love you guys. I'm thinking about you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Testing, testing, testing. Ah, you're so cute.
Have heard from the sky all about it. Down the river, high tide flows around it. Through the whispers of pines, I hear them sing. The more you love, the more you live. Do you ever feel like going back?
Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola, mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006.
Hola, bienvenidos a Discapacidad Televisión. Recuerda suscribirte para no perderte los últimos estrenos y programas en vivo. Danos un me gusta, y así nos ayudarás a conocerte mejor y saber qué programación es tu favorita. Por favor, no te olvides de compartir, así, más personas podrán disfrutar de Discapacidad Televisión y toda su programación. Muchas gracias.
Gracias al esfuerzo de parlamentarios, se aprobó una moción parlamentaria que hace una cosa súper concreta y que como gobierno tenemos que promulgar, que es que hoy día, si tú te estacionas en un estacionamiento para personas con discapacidad o impides el acceso o utilizas parte del espacio, la sanción aumentó. ¿Cuál va a ser ahora? Vas a tener que pagar entre 50.000 pesos y 75.000 pesos de multa y además el juez puede suspenderte la licencia si es que has cometido otra infracción grave en el año. Por lo tanto, de la situación anterior, que era una multa mucho inferior y que no había suspensión de licencia, tenemos hoy día una sanción más dura que hace que tengamos incentivos correctos para que la gente no ocupe los estacionamientos de las personas con discapacidad. Esperamos que los chilenos tengamos conciencia de esto, pero además ya tenemos sanciones más duras para aquellos que no son capaces de entender este mensaje.
¿Conoces los programas que conforman a la CNDH? 6. Atención a personas con discapacidad. Este importante programa, perteneciente a la primera Visitaduría General, trabaja de manera conjunta con organizaciones de la sociedad civil y dependencias de los 3 órdenes de gobierno, a través de la promoción, difusión, orientación y acompañamiento en casos de presunta vulneración a los derechos humanos de las personas con discapacidad. Además, realiza investigaciones, informes y diagnósticos acerca del estado que guardan los derechos humanos de este sector de la población, a fin de dar a conocer las áreas de oportunidad, coadyuvando con la asertiva toma de decisiones en pro de la inclusión. Si consideras que tus derechos han sido vulnerados, acércate a nosotros. En la Comisión Nacional de los Derechos Humanos, defendemos al pueblo.
Imagine la vida en un mundo sin luz, formas ni color.
Así vivo yo, Mi nombre es Enrique Alberto Bustos Garay y tengo discapacidad visual desde los 17 años.
Un accidente y el desprendimiento de retina lo dejaron invidente, pero nada lo detuvo. Logró ser comunicador, locutor, cantante y constituyó su empresa, pues para él no hay imposibles. A sus 63 años, sabe que las barreras son las que generan discapacidad.
Si me dan un bastón guía como este, si el transporte es accesible, si cuento con un piso podotáctil, no tengo discapacidad.
La indiferencia es lo que golpea la dignidad de los más de 3 millones de personas con discapacidad en el país. Actitudes como la de algunos malos conductores que no respetan su pase gratuito en el transporte público.
Desconocen y al uno presentar el carnet amarillo te dicen, ¿qué es eso? Paga tu pasaje. Le digo, este es lo que me permite el pase. Le digo, no, paga tu pasaje si no te bajas.
Con un bastón guía, Enrique Bustos recorre de memoria la salida de su vivienda, pero su paso se vuelve inseguro en la vía pública, frente a una pista o en espera del transporte.
Necesitamos que usted, señor alcalde, haga respetar la ley y nuestro derecho que tenemos más de 3 millones de personas a contar con un transporte totalmente accesible, inclusivo y sin barreras.
Cruzar una calle le tomará a usted unos segundos. Para él es jugarse la vida a diario. Seamos solidarios y hagamos respetar en los buses y micros el carnet amarillo que ellos portan. El Ministerio de Transportes y Comunicaciones exhorta a los conductores a cumplir la norma.
En este mes de octubre, mes de la persona con discapacidad, por favor, amigo transportista, respeta este carnet.
Don Enrique nos recuerda que la discapacidad no debe generar lástima, sino respeto a los derechos humanos.
Siempre con el pueblo. Gobierno del Perú.
Juli.
Sí.
¿Venís un segundo, por favor? ¿Cómo va todo?
Todo bien.
¿Bien? Bien. Genial, me alegro. Bueno, hoy se va a estar sumando un chico nuevo al equipo.
Bien.
Así que quiero que lo ayudemos, viste que el primer día no es fácil para nadie.
No.
Vos vas a ser el encargado de explicarle cómo funcionan las cosas.
Bien.
Tengámosle paciencia, viste que la adaptación no es fácil.
No, claro, obvio.
Si hay que explicarle las cosas 2 veces.
Se las explicamos 2 veces.
Sí, si hay que explicárselas 3 veces.
3 veces.
3 veces, perfecto. Mira, justo ahí viene.
Hola.
Hola. Mati, él es Juli.
Hola.
Juli va a ser el encargado de presentarte a los chicos del equipo y mostrarte cómo funciona todo por acá. Así que bueno, si quieren ir yendo.
Vamos, te muestro todo.
Juli. Vámonos a sentir uno más, ¿dale?
Sí. Freidora. Y esta es la tostadora. Bien, exacto. Bueno, en ese osito, poné la bebida.
¿La bebida?
Ah, sí, sí. Salen con de vainilla. No importa, tranquilo.
¿Qué estamos haciendo para que Lima sea una ciudad más inclusiva? En la región de América Latina, entre el 10 y el 12% es el consenso de población con algún tipo de discapacidad.
Yo subí a Metropolitano precisamente al alimentador pensando que era accesible para todos y me caí. Creo que este accidente, aunque fue muy negativo, fue positivo porque llegué a concientizar a las personas lo que era necesario hacer un cambio en este sistema, porque todos necesitamos un sistema accesible. Para salir diariamente de mi casa, llamo un taxi de aplicación para preguntarle si puede llevar la silla de ruedas. Luego subo al taxi y bueno, me deja, si necesito en el Metropolitano.
La Plaza de 2 de Mayo y su renovación costó 1.9 millones de dólares y se hizo gracias a una donación japonesa administrada por el Banco Mundial. pero tal vez lo más importante es que se hizo con la participación de personas con discapacidad.
Desde que el Banco Mundial y SOI nos llamaron a un grupo de personas con discapacidad porque manifestemos nuestras opiniones, me sentí incluida, ¿no? La verdad, fototáctil es vital y es súper importancia porque las personas ciudadanas usan mucho el metropolitano. Las rampas son una maravilla, no tenías que hacer esfuerzo, podías moverte con total libertad.
Este plan genera un contexto regulatorio en torno a la accesibilidad. En segundo lugar, nosotros, como institución internacional, el Banco Mundial, tiene unas salvaguardas que protegen a las poblaciones más vulnerables y que nos obligan, de cierta forma, a estar muy atentos a que esas poblaciones tengan acceso a los servicios públicos que nosotros financiamos.
El ascensor fue de vital importancia porque me permitió subir con facilidad sin necesitar a alguien que me ayude a apretar el botón porque los botones están abajo. Si fuera una persona ciega también me hubiera ayudado un montón porque estaba la señalización en braille y también me hablaba para saber en qué piso bajar y en qué piso subir.
Invito a que todas las personas podamos trabajar juntos, ¿no? El Banco Mundial y otras instituciones peruanas y de afuera, para lograr una ciudad cada vez más inclusiva, más moderna, una ciudad para todos.
Instituto Nacional para Ciegos, INSI.
Estoy interesado en contratar a una persona con discapacidad visual, pero tengo algunas dudas. ¿Usted por favor me puede ayudar a resolver mis inquietudes?
Por supuesto, cuéntame en qué le puedo colaborar.
Pues inicialmente me gustaría saber cuáles son los beneficios que tengo como empresario al contratar a una persona con discapacidad visual.
Permítame le explico. Cuando usted incluye personas con discapacidad visual en su empresa, se convierte en una empresa socialmente responsable, pues mejora la situación y las oportunidades de las personas con discapacidad visual y sus familias, generando un impacto positivo a nivel social. Facilita la visibilización de competencias y capacidades que tienen las personas con discapacidad visual, ayudando a ser ejemplo para derribar barreras y estereotipos que limitan su participación a nivel productivo. Favorece valores corporativos como la tolerancia, la aceptación de la diversidad y el respeto, mejorando así la capacidad de adaptación y respuesta de los mismos empleados a la realidad social en su entorno. Mejora el clima laboral de la empresa, enriqueciendo al capital humano y despertando el sentido de pertenencia de sus empleados a través de una cultura corporativa sin prejuicios.
A mí me interesa aportar el desarrollo económico y el bienestar de la comunidad, y esto me parece una muy buena manera de hacerlo.
Por supuesto, pero fuera de las ventajas que ya le he mencionado, también hay unos beneficios tributarios. Permítame le cuento. Las empresas que contraten personas con discapacidad pueden acceder a una deducción en el impuesto de renta del 200% del valor de los salarios y prestaciones sociales pagadas durante el periodo gravable. Se estima que el valor del beneficio tributario puede ser superior a 8 millones de pesos al año por un empleado que devenga un salario mínimo. Esto lo dice la Ley 361 de 1997. La cuota de aprendices que está obligado a contratar el empleador se disminuirá en un 50% si los contratados por él son personas con discapacidad. Además, si usted desea tener una ventaja para contratar con el Estado, se otorga el 1% del total de los puntos establecidos en el pliego de condiciones a los proponentes que acrediten la vinculación de trabajadores con discapacidad en su planta de personal, decreto 392 de 2018. Si usted hace parte de una entidad pública, debe considerar que conforme al decreto 2011 de 2017, se reglamentó el porcentaje de vinculación laboral de personas con discapacidad en todas las entidades del orden nacional, departamental, distrital y municipal de las 3 ramas del poder público.
Con todo lo que usted me acaba de explicar, la verdad estoy interesado en incluir en mi planta de personal una persona con discapacidad visual.
¡Claro que sí! Y el Instituto Nacional para Ciegos INSI puede colaborarle y brindarle un acompañamiento y una asesoría para avanzar en este tema. Para ello puede comunicarse al correo aciudadano@insi.gov.co o al teléfono 384-6666 extensión 110.
Nací en Cali, Valle. Mi padre tenía un bar cervecero. A eso de los 20 años tuve el accidente en el mismo negocio familiar, que de allí fue que quedé así, pero prácticamente discapacitado. Transcurrió todo el tiempo así, cuando yo estaba trabajando con un primo. Ahí fue cuando hubo un inconveniente, me tocó que salí del país. No dije nada, sino de que me voy. Salí, de una vez me vine ya para Ecuador. Yo no sabía qué era, por lo menos, refugio. Uno podía dialogar sobre eso y para quedarse en un país, que tenía ayuda, ¿no? Al tiempo de no recordar de que me dijeron otras personas que ANUR quedaba por ahí mismo, que porque no iba a tomar refugio. Primero a mí me dieron para arriendo, comida, poder trabajar, que una persona que tanto como por discapacidad como por refugiado tengo ciertos derechos, siempre han estado a mi lado. ¿Para qué? Con mi señora trabajamos en el parque municipal, lustrando zapatos, pintando zapatos, reformándolos. De eso es lo que hoy en día vivo muy tranquilo. Como me fascina tanto el deporte, siempre he estado con el Club Sin Paro aquí en Santo Domingo. Muchas veces sí, he dejado de hacer mi trabajo por irme a jugar. Me gusta más que todo tener amigos, me gusta tener muchas motivaciones. Lo vivo muy agradecido.
Vamos a dormir.
¿Pero por qué los acostamos sin comer?
¿Viste que nosotros tenemos que dormir de noche?
Sí.
Bueno, la heladera también.
Mentira.
¿De verdad? ¿Escuchas eso? Está roncando.
¿Y mañana va a estar despierta?
Sí. Mañana sí.
El hambre no tiene final feliz. En la Argentina 1 millón de niñas y niños se van a dormir sin comer. Tu donación mensual puede cambiar esta historia. Dona ahora.
Porque seguimos comprometidos con la inclusión.
Reconocemos la importancia de la lengua de señas y el aporte de la comunidad sorda en nuestra cultura.
Porque las lenguas de señas nos unen.
Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006.
Hola, bienvenidos a Discapacidad Televisión. Recuerda suscribirte para no perderte los últimos estrenos y programas en vivo. Danos un me gusta, y así nos ayudarás a conocerte mejor y saber qué programación es tu favorita. Por favor, no te olvides de compartir, así, más personas podrán disfrutar de Discapacidad Televisión y toda su programación. Muchas gracias.